that are paid. So what we have is we have teachers that are underpaid, administrators that are making over 6 figures, and then they have assistant administrators helping them making 6 figures, and then they have assistants or support staff helping them that total are making way over, and that's where the money's going. So when you look at it, and the problem is we can't do anything about it because we have to fight the unions on that. The unions then will say, no, you can't do anything with these people. So the only solution in my mind would be the state has to, since they control the schools anyway, they need full control and make laws so that we need a dose pretty much for the schools district because either way, we're never going to fix the property tax problem until we fix the spending of the schools. Okay, they spend way too much, and what I'm doing is, I complain about Willoughby East Lake School, they're at 80% personnel. Well, Menor Schools is 84%. So I mean, now you're talking the school's got to run a complete budget, building, the utility costs and everything else on 16%. It's just impossible, and that's why they keep falling further and further behind. And what they do is also, I'm finding out through this mass appraisal method, again, when they put this all together, they put the funding of the schools on our property taxes. And then they had to come in 76, they had to come out with House Bill 920, because what they would do is, as the valuations were going, the schools were getting a lot of money, a lot of windfalls, so they said, well, we're going to control that. So they put House Bill 920 to cap it. And then what they did is the schools started complaining, so what they did was they raised it from 10 mil to a 20 mil floor. So now they're going to get a guaranteed 2%. But what that did is, like Willoughby East Lake Schools, they have 5 mils inside. Now they get an additional 15 outside, so they get an additional 15 mils without the vote of the people. So all this money they're getting now with these windfalls, and again, what they do is they'll put their budgets out, and if they have, say, 100 million coming in, they'll spend 110 million. And the problem is that's the problem, because their mentality is if they don't use the appropriation, they'll lose it, and they won't get it the next year. And the problem is still is that when they put their budgets together, for example, Willoughby East Lake School District, what they did was they put a 5-year projection. And after 5 years, they said how many days cash will they have available? Well, if the valuations, they say, go up 17.5%, then that'll bring in, they'll have 30 days cash at the end of the 5 years, which would be not enough for cash policy. So then what they did was they said with the valuation coming at 28.5%, then they'd have 52 days cash reserve. So what they did was they submitted that to the auditor, and then what they did was in September, 4 months later, they put a cash reserve policy together. On that policy, they said the first 2 years, 90 days cash, the next 2 years, 75, and the 5th year, 60, which is 8 days more than the 52. Now the auditor, by law, has to make sure that the school has enough funding. Was it a coincidence that the valuations for the Willoughby East Lake School District came in at over 30%? So, and again, when I'm finding out also when I'm doing the research on this mass appraisal method, they pretty much can manipulate the numbers and make it come out any way they want because they're using averages and estimates. So, this whole system pretty much is, and the thing is that how we can't fight is because what they'll do is, first of all, the burden of the proof is on us. Because like, for example, in Lake County, Vision Software Solutions, they go out and they do these mass appraisals. Now, they get paid to do that. They get $1.8 million for that contract. But now, every valuation they do when someone contests their valuation, they're getting $295 to $695 additional for every case that they hear. So now, again, if they evaluate everyone high and they get a lot of people contesting it, that's a cash windfall for them. They're going to make a lot of money. And this is another thing where, the whole system is to me, it's rigged. So, something has to be done. So what we're looking at doing is total property tax elimination because, being a mayor, I know that one thing, part of our taxes go to services for the community, which is good. Police, fire, EMS, but at least we get something out of it. But when over 60% of the taxes are going to the school district, that's when we have to basically look and say, okay, we have to stop this somewhere. So